For Francis Matua, a nail and eyelash beautician at Linton's Beauty World, the smell of decay and hundreds of bullet holes is what reminds him of the fateful date, September 21st, 2013. Matua, who had worked at the upscale Westgate shopping mall Nairobi for nearly 5 years, speaks of the ordeal he underwent 1 year later. At first, it was painful to even contemplate the next move after witnessing what he believed to be his main source of income destroyed, but not anymore. Although 67 people died in the attack and hundreds of livelihoods destroyed, Matua says the incident was a blessing in disguise as Linton's Beauty World opened a new branch at the village market and his clientele increased.
Since I came here, still, the clients we used to attend at Westgate, I can see they're coming even here. We're still seeing some of them. And I can say the business is not that bad. Yeah. When I compare with Westgate, here is a bit better. I can say it was like a new door. After the attack, I can see there's a big difference. Yeah, getting new clients. Yeah, the business is not that bad.
Linton's Beauty World marketing manager Kangai Mwiti reminisces on the company's first shop at the mall, which was strategically located at the ground floor next to the escalator, a location she says attracted a lot of traffic. On the day of the attack, Mwiti says most of the staff members were around the mall, a few on the parking rooftop where most of the casualties occurred. She says although none of her staff members lost their lives, many of them were injured and psychologically disturbed, prompting the company to seek professional counseling.
Some of the staff actually saw people getting shot outside the store because if you remember, there were, I think, 2 bodies outside right by the escalator, and we had our staff members right behind the glass. A few were actually outside on the in the parking lot, the one where a lot of people were killed, and they literally had to jump over the wall and down. I don't even know how many feet, but the good thing, we thank God, because no one was gravely physically injured. Of course, there was a lot of mental stress and mental. It was really, really difficult for us to actually get over it.
It took Mwiti and her team 10 months to open the new beauty shop at the village market, in which Mwiti expresses how she lost most of her staff members after relocating.
Some came back, mainly because it took a very long while for us to start up this new store. So what we did is we tried to place them in our other store at Junction, but you can imagine it was really crowded and all of that. So a few chose to leave and a few remained behind. And of the ones that did remain behind, they have now moved here to this store.
A year later, as we sit in the new store, Mwiti reflects on the positive outcome of the Westgate attack despite its numerous setbacks.
One of the things that Westgate has done for Linton's is that it has really forced us to think about growth and focusing on becoming a brand in this region that is an excellent brand. First of all, you can find excellent products. You can find some of the world's best beauty and skincare brands here at Linton's. And for us to realize that having only 2 or 3 stores is not enough. We want to branch out and find ourselves in every major mall and or city here. And so getting into Village Market was the next logical thing. We had a huge customer base on this side of Nairobi. And so once Westgate was gone, we had to, move to a location here. We had a lot of demand for that. And so this project took around 8 months, 8 months, around 8 months. And I think we did a good job. We have such amazing brands. We have a brand new fragrance counters. We're bringing in Essie, which is a nail brand, and it is worn by the Queen, thank you, the Queen Elizabeth.
Hi everyone, this is my amazing, wonderful, lovable team.
Adele Dejac operated a shop at Westgate and also had another shop in Lamu. Once the Westgate attacks happened, she picked herself up and decided to concentrate on the Lamu shop, and then the Mpeketoni attacks happened this year. Although the attacks took place a little far from Lamu Island where her shop was located, Adele was still too raw with emotions after Westgate. She closed her Lamu shop and moved back to Nairobi.
I'd always wanted a place here in Karen. I feel because of the traffic congestion going to the central Nairobi, a lot of people in Karen don't actually leave Karen. So that's why from the extreme Gigiri and Kiambu and then Karen, it's one end of Nairobi to the other, so there's definitely a gap here. Grace put on her walking shoes and within 2 days she sent me via WhatsApp and emails images of places, and this was the place I really liked. I think containers are really cool and hip, and the interesting thing is a lot of people probably don't realize, or maybe they do, that most shops along the streets are containers, but people don't really pay attention because I think it's custom, they're actually used to seeing them, and I think it's a very African thing to use something recycled, like an old container, to use as a shop. And I think it's always been my dream to have a container shop. So dreams can come true, as someone once said.
Despite being a victim of these attacks, Adele believes she was fortunate enough and is now forwardly embracing the ripple effects of the Westgate attack.
Well, I think, Westgate clients have moved on. With anything in life, however negative, you've got to move on. So yeah, I've moved on. I'm focusing obviously on this little container outlet, which I've called Lamu, by the way, and focus on international online market, because I think that's where we're focusing on.
In addition, Adele is urging the government to put in place measures in which security is assured not only to the locals but also international investors.
Well, I think a lot of people need just reassurance. And not just reassurance with words, but with actions. Security is a big issue, and I think they need to pump up security, not just maybe start making attacks, bombing. I think the problem needs to be tackled in a smarter way, because bombing is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to aggravate the situation. But it's easier said than done, because it is a very complex situation. This is the life!
For Capital Features, I'm Angela Wambui.